Introduction to the Legend of Owning a Courtyard in the Fierce Era. www.zhaoshuyuan.com is not lacking in imaginative writing, does not seek exaggerated settings, pursues smooth progress, reasonable settings, and presents a century-old story. Wang Li, a grassroots state-owned enterprise employee, was unexpectedly reborn into a hunter's family before the founding of the People's Republic of China. He obtained 5 1-cubic-meter spaces and practiced the White Lotus Golden Body Sutra passed down from his family during the Boxer Rebellion. By chance, he obtained a collapsed 3-courtyard house in Kyoto. https://www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Chapter 1, Before Crossing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. At the beginning of 2023, Wang Li was a grassroots employee of a state-owned enterprise. He entered the state-owned enterprise through exams after graduating from university and worked as a grassroots accountant. In his more than 30 years of life experience, there hasn't been any particularly exciting life, but life can also be considered happy and fulfilling. His parents are both freelancers. Fortunately, they are also freelancers. Otherwise, in that era, if an employee within the state-owned system could only have one child, he would not have had a sister or brother. My parents have done small business and have also worked for others. Although they don't have a big career, they have successfully supported their siblings and all 3 of them have been admitted to college. And bought houses for the 3 siblings in the same community. According to the elderly, although they will all get married in the future, they still need to live together and take care of each other conveniently. Now that my parents have retired and are at home, I usually help my brothers and sisters take care of their children or go on trips. His brother is 5 years older than him, and his sister is 3 years older than him. My brother has a boy, and my sister has 2 girls. Both of them live happily ever after. Whenever I have time, I can take my child back to my parents' house to accompany the elderly. My nephew and niece daughter are both very filial. I also have a good relationship with him. Wang Li can accompany them on holidays or birthdays. Buy them birthday and holiday gifts. Wang Li loves them very much. His older brothers and sisters both work in government departments and are very busy with work, rarely spending time with their children. And he is an ordinary employee in the company, and usually has nothing to do after completing basic work. Whenever you have time, take these 3 children to amusement parks, shopping malls, restaurants, etc. Anyway, he is just a child king, which allows him to experience the feeling of being an elder and taking care of younger generations as a big brother. And Wang Li himself has also dealt with several objects. My first girlfriend in college, but after graduation, I fully fulfilled that sentence. Graduation season is the breakup period. Although the 2 are very close and have a good relationship, they have even gone out to live together. However, he is from the north and his girlfriend is from the south. After graduation, both of them returned to their hometowns. After he started working, he was introduced by his parents, relatives, friends, and went on blind dates several times. However, for various reasons, he successfully broke up before discussing marriage. When it comes to the reason for the breakup, there is actually no principled issue. After spending a long time together, we didn't feel much anymore. We broke up peacefully and went our separate ways to find the next more suitable person. And our protagonist Wang Li is still in search. For this reason, Wang Li's parents nagged him a lot, especially a few years ago. Almost every time they came home, they would beat around the bush and urge him to get married and have children earlier. Fortunately, in recent years, both older brothers and sisters have gotten married and had children. The 2 elderly people have also been accompanied by someone. I wander around 3 children every day, and I also feel relaxed about Wang Li's personal issues. Maybe it seems like he's been released. Today is the birthday of his father Wang Jiangwo, and Wang Li's old father only has one hobby, which is liking all kinds of strange things. The so-called strange and peculiar things include many types, including antique jade, old-fashioned various items, stationery, and even various strange stones. In short, Wang Li's father is a multifaceted collector, stronger than collecting junk. And Wang Li was also influenced by his father to like collecting various items. Today, Wang Li went to the largest second-hand market in the local area, looking for a suitable birthday gift for my father. Wang Li has been wandering in the market for over an hour, but still hasn't found a suitable gift. Just as he was about to give up, he found a strange 5-colored stone on an old lady's booth. This stone gives the impression of being artificial, but based on his years of experience collecting items, it is definitely not artificial. The interior of the stone is illuminated by 5-colored glass. At first glance, it looks like glass to an outsider, and it's also the kind of glass with a very poor texture. But in Wang Li's opinion, this thing is very suitable for making a handle, and the internal 5-color light is harmonious and natural. After some discussion with the old lady, Wang Li bought this glass-colored stone for 350 yuan, along with an exquisitely designed box. After buying something, he bought 2 bottles of Wulianye. This is also one of my father's few hobbies. It's also the fault of the 3 men in their family, even though they all look very strong. But their alcohol tolerance is very poor. These 2 bottles of Wulianye are enough to drink the 3 of them under the table. After buying these things, Wang Li took a taxi home. Returning home, I happened to encounter my mother serving groceries outside. While working, I complained that the child had just returned and didn't know how to come back early day after day. I helped make some dishes. Even if you come back late, you still have to take a girlfriend. Wang Li let out a deep sigh. Oh my, I'm afraid the following sentence is still an important reason for complaining, or single dogs have no human rights. Wang Li lowered his head and didn't dare to answer. He walked directly to the bathroom to wash his hands and eat at the table. I looked up and saw the teasing eyes of my father and brother, complaining in my heart that it was not meaningful enough. With a little complaint, my father and brother drank 2 bottles of Wulianye clean. I didn't even have time to give him my father's gift. At night, Wang Li carried the gift box and returned to his room drunk. I casually placed the gift box on the wireless charger of my phone, lying in bed without even taking off my clothes, and soon fell asleep. What he didn't see was the gift box placed on the wireless charger, emitting a colorful glow. And their electricity meter is spinning rapidly, and if nothing unexpected happens, the monthly electricity bill at home will have a critical impact on his mother by 10,000 points. Chapter 2, Back to 1940. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, what happened to Blue Star Dragon Country in 1940? Our protagonist Wang Li was born in a small village around Kyoto. In July 1937, Komodo occupied Kyoto, which was currently under Komodo's control. 40 years ago, Wanjia village was located near the foot of the mountain. The best hunter in the village, Wang Dali's family, was walking back and forth under his own window, constantly sighing and groaning. He kept muttering, "Son of a bitch, you must hold on. Our generation in the old Wang family relies on you. Hey! It's been more than 10 hours already, why haven't you given birth yet? No, I have to go and retrieve that old ginseng." After speaking, Wang Dali went to the beam of the east house in the yard and took down a wooden box. I saw an 8-liang-old ginseng in the wooden box. A few years ago, Wang Dali went hunting in the deep mountains of the north and accidentally discovered an old ginseng. He regarded it as a treasure and was not willing to sell it for money, as it was time to use it. I saw Wang Dali using a knife to cut a few pieces of ginseng from the mountain ginseng, and quickly processed the ginseng using ancestral methods. Bring the best midwife in the village, Wang Pur, to the front door of the main delivery room. Let him eat it for his daughter.in.law, and after a while, her cries will become louder. It sounds more powerful than before. After another half-hour, there was only a sound of wow coming out of the room. Soon, Wang Bo-po walked out holding a small meatball and showed it to Wang Dolly. Say. Congratulations, Dolly. You have a queen and are a chubby kid. Wang Dolly is very happy. Immediately took out a yuan big head and gave it to Wang Po. Speaking of thank you very much. At this moment, our protagonist Wang Li is still in a daze. What's going on? Drink a meal of alcohol and you'll be blinded. Have you hallucinated? How can I be held in someone's arms? And why is there no strength all over, and the eyes cannot be opened? I could only vaguely hear the voices of an old woman and a man. A bad idea is ringing in my heart. I can't be traveling, can I? Occasionally fishing at work, reading online novels, and admiring the travel of various great gods. But my life is also considered happy and fulfilling, with loving parents, brothers, and sisters above, and a little nephew and 2 nieces below. Of course, there are also his father and some of his own collections. Do I have to say goodbye to them all? Thinking about it, Wang Li fell into a coma. At this time, Wang Dolly and Wang Po had already tidied up the delivery room and the child. Put the child next to the daughter.in.law and whispered to her, "Thank you. Our Wang family finally has a queen. Thank you for your hard work. Let's rest now." Unconsciously, Wang Li felt very hungry and wanted to get up to eat. But I found that my hands and feet were bound by something, and my eyes couldn't open either. He is very angry, who is joking with him? Tie it up and cover your eyes. Just as he was about to curse, he suddenly heard a baby cry coming from his mouth. I only heard a gentle voice saying, "The head of the household may be hungry, let me feed him." Wang Li only felt a soft thing stuffed into his mouth. He unconsciously took 2 breaths and a sweet liquid entered his mouth. Wang Li was immediately stunned. What was going on? Suddenly he thought to himself, didn't I drink with my father and brother yesterday? After drinking, I should have returned to my room. After waking up from drinking. It shouldn't be like this either. If someone were to joke with me, shouldn't they be so open and stick a breast into my mouth for me to suck? And even more exaggeratedly, I was held in my arms and could still smell the warm fragrance of milk. What the hell is going on here? After finishing his milk, Wang Li fell into memories. At this moment, a 5-colored glow bloomed in his forehead, the legendary pituitary gland, and a blurry scene entered his mind. Originally, the 5-colored glazed stone he bought from the old lady is the core of a meteorite in space. This stone is very magical, influenced by the unknown power of time and space, and has traveled through countless epochs in space. Encountered the 5 elements in space and absorbed them into rocks. After years of nurturing, a 5-element space similar to the peacock deity Kong Xian in the function list has been formed, forming its own system. But its power and size are far less than Kong Xian's, with only 5 cubic meters of space each. And the reason why Wang Li was able to travel through time and be reborn here. It's entirely because after he finished drinking, he placed the 5-colored stone on the wireless charger and used the wireless charger to charge the stone. As a trigger, this led to the absorption of cosmic energy by meteorites during space drift. Breaking through the barriers of time and space, Wang Li, the only living organism around the stone, crossed numerous obstacles of time and space together and crossed to 1940. The outskirts of Kyoto, Blue Star Dragon Kingdom. Immerse oneself in the belly of Wang Dolly's wife. If it weren't for his travels. Wang Dolly's wife is infertile. That is to say, his travels caused Wang Dolly's family to have a child. This may be a causal cycle, where Wang Dolly raised him and inherited the incense for his family. Chapter 3, Infant Period. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, these blurry images made Wang Li understand the true reason for the crossing. But Wang Li's heart was still very uncomfortable. Fortunately, he has an older brother and an older sister, and his parents are also in good health. In the future, he will not be needed to support his parents in their old age. Perhaps only during the period when he just disappeared. His parents and siblings will miss him very much and be anxious. But he believes that time is the best medicine to make up for trauma. He believes that his parents and relatives will still be happy after the traumatic period. If there were no accidents, he would not be able to feel the internal energy of the five-colored stone in his lifetime. Because the energy he traveled through was collected by the five-colored stones drifting through multiple epochs in the universe. Therefore, he silently wished his parents, brothers, sisters, and various relatives in his heart, and secretly swore, "I will live happily in a new world." A few months have passed in the blink of an eye, and Wang Li's life is very regular. He spends most of his day sleeping, waking up to take milk, and recalling past events after finishing his milk. The biggest change in these months is that he can now see the outside world clearly. At the same time, there was also an old name for the new world, Wang Li. Opening his eyes, the first thing he saw was his mother. His mother may appear slightly overweight but not very fair due to having just given birth, which may be due to the age. Women in that era were not well maintained. Usually, there are activities both inside and outside the house. But his mother is very durable and has a feeling of being a small family jade. Her gaze at him is full of affection. And his father is very robust, about 1.8 meters tall. This is very rare in this era, possibly due to hunting and eating more meat in daily life. His father spends most of the day hunting outside. Since he was born in summer and a few months later, it is now autumn, and his father is very busy now. Because autumn prey has the best quality. The reason is that summer food is relatively abundant, and all kinds of prey eat smooth and fluffy food. Hunting leather can sell for a good price at this time in autumn. Perhaps because he is still very young, his father did not go hunting in the north this year. In previous years, my father would go hunting in the north, often catching tigers and bears. Therefore, what he is currently wearing underneath his body is a piece of tiger skin. This is what my father took out from the camphor wood cabinet as the weather has entered autumn and gradually cooled down. But my father can still bring back chickens, rabbits, and even deer every day. This shows my father's hunting skills. Through his parents' daily conversations, he learned that he had been reborn on a planet similar to Earth, the blue star. The historical process is also similar. He suspected that it was a different plane from Earth. The reason why I didn't cross over to different planes of myself may be due to the five-colored stones. The current period of the Little Ben War, similar to Earth, was in 1940, located in Wangjia village, a suburb of Kyoto occupied by Little Ben. My father is around 30 years old, and my mother is around 20 years old. In this era, she is already considered relatively old, especially as parents of newborns. This is not as normal as giving birth at the age of 40 in modern times. In this era of scarce clothing, it is fortunate for people to live to be over 30 years old and still healthy, not to mention that their parents can still give birth to him at this age. The main reason is actually that his father was a hunter, and he was also a well-known hunter from afar. Based on his preliminary understanding, what kind of martial arts should he have practiced from his ancestors? Therefore, her body was very strong, and it was for this reason that her mother, as a village flower from all over the country, married her father who was still in his prime at the time. And his mother's family was a carpenter and bricklayer in the village, who was also considered a skilled craftsman in that era. And his father is the only son in the family. His grandfather passed away earlier when Xiao Ben attacked Kyoto, and the specific reason seems to be because Xiao Ben. Therefore, the whole family has no good impression of the small notebook, but unfortunately, the situation is pressing. Now that the small notebook is powerful, it can only be tolerated for now. Due to my father's frequent mountain hunting and strong hunting ability. Therefore, the family's economic conditions are also considered good in the entire village, and they can eat and drink without worrying in the current difficult situation. Therefore, the mother's milk is abundant, and Wang Li grows quickly. Perhaps Wang Li, as a mature adult, crossed into a baby's body. The mind and body are not very coordinated, so more sleep is needed to adapt to his adult thinking ability and memory. Therefore, Wang Li slept more than half of the time compared to children of the same age. At the same time, his growth rate is much faster and stronger than other babies. At the age of 6 months, he was already 1 year old as an ordinary child. And by the time he was 1 year old, he was already 3 years old as an ordinary child. And he can also run fast at half a year old. This is still the result he deliberately concealed. It is expected that walking and running earlier due to the rapid growth of the body cannot be concealed. And if it weren't for being unable to resist speaking, he could still speak at the age of 1. Chapter 4, Research on Abilities. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. During this year, he also conducted some research on his body and the 5 colored stones in his mind. Basically, I have mastered the ability that comes with my reincarnation through time travel, which is the golden finger. His golden fingers are actually divided into 2 aspects. One is the 5 colored stone that brought him over. One is the knowledge and understanding of the historical trend that his rebirth brought far beyond this era. The first one is the 5 colored stone that took him across. After taking him through the journey, the 5 colored stone had already fused with his pituitary gland. The energy generated is 5 storage spaces per cubic meter. At present, only lifeless objects can be stored in space. Once their little chicken ran into the house. He tried to fit into the 5 colored space, but was unsuccessful. Therefore, it is determined that the storage space cannot store living objects. And storing lifeless objects has no concept of time. He analyzed that it is most likely due to the influence of time and space on the 5 colored stone in the cosmic drift, causing a change in the temporal rules of the 5 colored stone space. Therefore, the object placed in it is the same when taken out and stored, regardless of temperature or state. And he absorbs objects into the space without touching them with his hands. He only needs to be within 1 meter of the object, and the volume of the object does not exceed 1 cubic meter. You can use mental power to bring objects into space. It is worth mentioning that the income space of goods requires both his mental and physical energy to be consumed. If his strength is not enough to move the item, then he cannot receive the item into the space. This could be a rule, or it could be a relationship between forces and reactions. And through his experiments, these 5 spaces of 1 cubic meter cannot be connected. Whenever 5 spaces want to touch each other, a strong repulsive force will be generated. He did not analyze the cause, and could only gradually understand it through future observations. At first, he didn't know that using space would consume both mental and physical energy. He fell into a coma during the experiment due to excessive mental and physical exertion. His parents were very worried and even invited an old traditional Chinese medicine practitioner to examine him. The test result showed that his body was too weak. This makes both his parents very strange. This child has been very strong since birth and has grown very fast. Therefore, for a period of time afterwards, his parents paid close attention to him. This also made it difficult for him to study his own abilities. There is also a non-supernatural ability. It is his knowledge reserves and historical insights that have been living in modern society for over 30 years. Although not like other travelers, they are able to remember all the knowledge from childhood to adulthood. But one can also remember the historical events and various knowledge that left a deep impression on the brain before the time of travel. Although these knowledge may not be applicable or completely consistent in the blue star where he is currently located. But he believes that as different planes of the earth, there will inevitably be certain impacts, and the overall situation of each matter will not change. Therefore, he believes this is his strongest ability after crossing over. He believes that he has a historical perspective and accumulated knowledge far beyond the times. In this backward era, there will definitely be some achievements. And during this year, he disguised himself as a 1-year-old child using the adult mind. Get along very well in daily contact with parents. Parents also use this as a capital to show off to their neighbors. Although he has tried his best to hide himself, his reputation for being sensible is also widely spread in the village. Also became a child in the mouths of others. He caused 10,000 critical damage to children born in his contemporaries and older children. But Xiao he was also defeated, because his mind was too mature, and although he was also hiding, he couldn't play with children of the same age or older than him. Although his mother often takes him to walk around the homes of his neighbors or friends in the same village. But there has still been no substantial change. Finally, his parents just thought he was too young and too smart, unwilling to play with children of the same age, thinking that he would grow up well and comfort himself. It is precisely because he is smarter and more sensible. His grandfather likes him. Also, because my grandfather lives in their same village and is very close, he often takes him with him and makes various wooden toys for him, such as small wooden horses, wooden guns, wooden knives, wooden tigers, and so on. And our protagonist Wang Li also learned a lot of carpentry knowledge with his grandfather. Although I can't get started with it, I can still gain some knowledge of carpentry after reading too much. Therefore, he is more favored by the master. It is precisely because in this era there were neither televisions nor mobile phones. There are no online novels. Even if he has them, he dares not read them because he cannot explain how a cultured person was born on the basis of illiteracy in the whole family. Therefore, he devoted his vigorous energy to the small things around him. For example, the master's carpenter and bricklayer skills, the father's hunting skills, and so on. Chapter 5. Growth in the Village. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, as spring and autumn passed, he was already 5 years old. And his height also reached 1.2 meters. This height was already the height of an 11 or 12-year-old child at that time. For his rapid increase in height. His parents and neighbors all thought it was because his father often hunted and ate meat. But only he knows it himself. Half of the reason is the impact of travel, and the other half is the impact of food and drink. As he grew up, his family could no longer limit his range of activities. I often run wildly outside all day. In recent years, he has gradually adapted to his child's identity. Although it may be influenced by time travel, the knowledge and events remembered before time travel are still deeply remembered. But after several years of children's career, there has gradually been a transformation, and the most obvious one is that he has become the child king in the village. Due to his height, strong physique, and mature mind, he is a skilled fighter in the village. Even the children who are much older than him dare not compete with him. This day, he ran back crazy outside. Encountered father and mother talking inside the house. He vaguely heard that the topic was about him. After his parents saw him come back, his father took the initiative to say, "Xiao Li should have said this to you in a few years, but your mind is very mature and your body is also very strong. After discussing with your mother, let me tell you now." The main reason is that his parents see him running around outside without any work to do. I'm afraid he might cause trouble, but it's also because it's 1945, which is a critical moment in the war between the Dragon Kingdom and the Little Book, and the outside is very chaotic. I also hope he has some self-protection ability. Son, do you know why my father hunts so well? And I'm 35 years old now, and my body is still so strong, like a young man. I can still stay in the mountains for half a month, hunting bears, tigers, and cheetahs. Do you know the reason? Afterwards, my father. I told him. A story that surprised him. Originally, Wang Li's great-grandfather. He was the personal guard leader of Hongxiuquan, the leader of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, which took place from 1851 to 1864. After the failure of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, his great-grandfather was seriously injured and fled to the Wanjia village with Hong Xiuquan's important personal belongings. He was saved by the daughter of the village chief at the time and has been hiding his name ever since. And because of gratitude, he broke through the door and married the daughter of the village director. The bloodline continues to this day. At that time, Hong Xiuquan's personal belongings, due to the special and urgent situation at that time, did not have much wealth, only some martial arts secrets. And your great-grandfather, due to his low cultural level and high martial arts skills at the time, did not learn the secret script obtained from the leader of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. I just passed down my skills in the 8 Extremes fist. Child, perhaps you haven't noticed that Dad comes back from outside very early every day. Actually, my dad practiced his family's 8 Extremes fist in the back mountain. So my physical fitness has always been very good. Now Dad asks you, do you want to learn the 8 Extremes fist? Upon hearing this news, Yang Li was excited and finally gained additional abilities in addition to his golden finger. So he immediately nodded and agreed to learn Bagua fist. After hearing this, my father smiled with relief and told him that there are 2 requirements for learning the 8 Extremes fist. The first is not to pass on one's 8 Extremes fist to others, and if not necessary, do not show that one knows it. The second is to wake up at 4 o'clock every day and go to the back mountain with my father to practice level 8 boxing. At the same time, Father also gave Wang Li several secret books that his great-grandfather had obtained from Hong Xiuquan. And tell him that if he has the opportunity in the future, he can learn on his own. From that day on, he learned level 8 boxing from his father every day. Standing for 1 hour in the morning, practicing routines during other times can be divided into practice and driving. And for the secret books that his father gave him, he also secretly flipped through and studied when his parents were not at home. He learned through reading and studying. His father gave him a total of 4 secret books. They are a set of knife technique secrets, a set of leg technique secrets, a set of body technique secrets, and the last set is also the most precious secret, with a powerful name called the Golden Body Classic. Even without his parents by his side, Wang Li occasionally practiced the first 3 secret books. This serves as a mutual verification with the 8 Extremes fist, and the effect is also very ideal. When encountering problems, I also asked my father about the essence of the 8 Extremes fist and asked them in person. My father didn't doubt him too much, thinking that this child was very talented and had more confidence in his martial arts practice, and he taught him more seriously. Chapter 6, Golden Body Sutra. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, when people do things they enjoy, they always find that time passes quickly, and in the blink of an eye, 3 years have passed. Many things have happened during these 3 years. Wang Li's grandfather passed away last year, and the old man walked peacefully. There are no regrets either. His craftsmanship as a carpenter and bricklayer has been largely mastered by the Wang Mechanics Society. Baji fist, leg skills, body technique secrets, and sword technique secrets have been basically mastered by Wang Li. The rest is just some ink painting skills. Only the last few pages of the Xingqi section in these 3 secret books will be useful for cultivation. For now, let's focus on cultivating most of the previous sections. In terms of cultivation, there has also been an unexpected surprise in recent years. That's when he discovered that the secret to the Golden Body Sutra was not simple. Wang Li discovered that although the progress of practicing the Golden Body Sutra is slow, the advantage is that the upper limit is very high. The Golden Body Sutra has a total of 12 layers and a 4-layer realm. The first layer is the refining realm, the second layer is the refining realm, the third layer is the refining realm, and the fourth layer is the Dharma phase realm. After 3 years of exploration, he has only explored how to cultivate the first 3 levels of the first great realm, which are refining skin and flesh, muscles and bones, and internal organs. At present, he has only reached the level of refining skin and flesh, but he has not reached any level of steel and iron bones. Cutting with a knife can also cause injury, but it is very light, and the recovery is faster. The strength has improved faster than before. At the age of 8 or 9, he practiced the 8 extremes fist normally with the physical advantage he gained from wearing it more and more. It can only reach the physical strength of a normal child in their teens. But he now has the physical strength, and physical strength of a middle-aged man. Although it is already exaggerated, it is still within an acceptable range. In addition, he has basically mastered the hunting skills he learned from his father, including traps and archery, especially his archery ability. After practicing the Golden Body Sutra with comprehensive physical strengthening, his eye and hand coordination ability has reached the peak of human beings. Therefore, his archery ability has far surpassed that of his father Wang Dali. At the beginning of this year, he had already started hunting with his father. Although there are currently no large prey, pheasants, rabbits, and deer have been successfully hunted. Also, because he became another laborer in the family, the life at home has improved compared to before. The savings at home have also increased significantly. In fact, Wang Li already has the ability to hunt independently, but his parents firmly disagree. Therefore, now it can only serve as an auxiliary. And his abilities, 5 cubic meters of space, have not changed much. Just more adept at collecting items. Of course, the main reason is that the physical fitness has become much stronger than before. He can easily lift anything weighing 300 pounds. Meanwhile, after years of training, his willpower and spiritual strength have also been greatly enhanced. Now, it's not like before that I'll faint myself. Of course, there isn't anything good in its space either. They are all prey that we usually hunt and catch. These prey were all concentrated in the first cubic meter of storage space by him. The second 1 cubic meter storage space stores some of his little secrets. For example, those 4 secret books. The third space is used to store his bow and a few pots of arrows. Fourthly, all 5 spaces are currently reserved for backup. It is already the end of 1948, and the situation outside has become more dramatic. After Xiaoben surrendered 3 years ago, a civil war broke out in the country for a short period of time, and the situation was also quite turbulent. Social security became even worse. Wang Li's parents demanded that he not be allowed to leave the village without their company. And through these years of adaptation, Wang Li gradually became accustomed to the life in the mountain village. Although there is little entertainment, every day is very fulfilling. In the morning, I went to the back mountain with my father, practiced the 8 extremes fist, and then came back to eat. During the day, I went hunting with my father, and at night, I secretly practiced the other 3 martial arts. Practicing the Golden Body Sutra at night is also fortunate because the practice of the Golden Body Sutra does not involve active skills, only static skills, which means there is no need to practice various routines and techniques like other martial arts. Just sit cross-legged and hold your fingerprints while meditating in your brain. Use special breathing methods to transport the body's qi and blood, in order to strengthen the body. Of course, this consumes nutrients in the body, but through Wang Li's years of experience, the transformation of the body through the primary stage of the Golden Body Classic is a slow process. Therefore, during the cultivation process, one only needs to consume more nutrients than usual, which means eating more. Today, Wang Li followed his father to hunt in a mountain forest north of Kyoto. Perhaps in recent years, due to the chaos of war and chaos, people's lives have been unstable, and the number of people entering the mountains for hunting has significantly increased. Wang Li and his father did not catch any prey on the outskirts of the mountains and forests, only a pheasant. Wang Li's father said, "Hey. Although you can also participate in hunting, son, our family hunts more prey than before. But the prey in the mountains is obviously not as easy to hunt as before, especially at the foot of the mountain, where people's lives are not easy. Based on Wang Li's understanding of the times, he knew that the civil war was also about to end. It is expected to enter a peaceful era in 1 year. So Wang Li comforted his father and said, "I heard from the elderly in the village that the overall situation of the world will be divided and united over time. This has been in chaos for several years, and the world should be on the verge of peace. The lives of the people should be getting better and better. Finally, after careful consideration, let's go hunting in the deep mountains." After having a meal of roast pheasant and mantou of noodles they carried at noon, the two of them continued to march towards the mountains with full satisfaction. Chapter 7, Saving People from Tiger Mouth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the father and son heard a fierce roar coming from a distance, followed by a gunshot. Wang Li's father said, "Someone must have encountered a tiger. Let's take a look and see if he needs help." After speaking, the father and son prepared their bows and arrows and rushed quickly towards the scene of the incident. Zhao Chang was very depressed at this moment, because as a member of an underground agent and a senior agent who had been lurking for a long time, he would actually get lost in the mountains, and it was not surprising. Why did he appear here? The main reason is that after Xiao Ben surrendered, he was unable to take away all the materials and belongings he collected during his occupation of the Dragon Kingdom. Therefore, Xiao Ben established many secret warehouses near Kyoto. After Xiao Ben surrendered and retreated, most of the secret warehouses were taken over by the White Party and equipped with their own troops. But in the current situation, Kyoto is about to be recaptured, so the White Party uses these secret warehouses to store supplies and make strategic reserves for future counterattacks against Kyoto. Zhao Chang's cover identity is the owner of a restaurant in Kyoto. And he is the leader of the undercover intelligence team of underground agents in Kyoto. Recently, he received a secret mission from the Northwest headquarters, requesting him to obtain a specific location map of the National Army's Material Reserve Warehouse in the Kyoto region. After careful deployment and arrangement, he successfully obtained a map of secret warehouses outside Kyoto. During the transfer process, he was discovered by the White Party. After sacrificing several members, he successfully escaped from the capital with a map. After escaping from the city, he evaded the spies and army who were chasing him. After hiding in the northern jungle of Kyoto, I got lost in the forest due to lack of forest survival experience. At this moment, he only had a pistol on his body except for that map and did not carry any other survival items. After wandering aimlessly in the forest for half a day, he suddenly found that the surroundings were very quiet. With his years of experience working underground, he developed a sense of danger. He was very confident that there must be some danger around him that he didn't know was approaching. He quickly took out his pistol and loaded it, scanning the surrounding jungle with his eyes. As it was already past 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the sun had already set westward, and with the high and dense forest, his vision was not very good. Therefore, no potential threat was detected, and just then he suddenly heard a rustling sound in the forest on the right. Just as he raised his gun to the right, a tiger's roar suddenly came from the forest on the right. Immediately after, he saw a huge figure rushing towards him. He instinctively fired a shot at the huge figure. Then he quickly rolled to the left and rear, barely avoiding the giant tiger's attack. But as the saying goes, a tiger's pounce is 1 pounce, 2 bites, and 3 tails. He dodged the first 2, but did not dodge the third item, and was heavily struck by the tiger's tail on his right arm. Unfortunately, he fired his pistol and after getting up, he didn't dare to look in the direction of the tiger and ran quickly in the opposite direction. But what he didn't see was his instinctive shot, hitting the tiger's left leg. But it didn't cause too much damage to the tiger. It only had a certain impact on the tiger's actions, and it was this impact that enabled him to escape from the tiger's mouth. Just as Wang Li and his son arrived at the scene, they saw him being chased by a tiger. Wang Li's father quickly drew his bow and shot arrows, but due to his haste, he only slightly blocked the tiger's path and did not harm it. Just as he was about to shoot the second arrow, I saw Wang Li pulling his bow and arrow beside him. The strong bow in his hand was pulled into a full moon by him, and the specially made heavy arrow in his hand had already pointed towards the tiger. With a whoosh, the tiger's right eye was directly pierced by his heavy arrow, deeply embedded in the tiger's head. And this fierce tiger has already pounced on Zhao Chang. Finally, the body of the fierce tiger pressed Zhao Chang directly under him. Chapter 8, Entering the City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Not long after, Zhao Chang struggled to crawl out from under the fierce tiger, only to see that his body was very messy. After seeing the arrow inserted into the tiger's eyes, he knew that he had been saved by two people not far away. He immediately walked towards Wang Li and his son, saying, "Thank you to this big brother and little brother for their life-saving kindness." As a person from Kyoto, he opened a small restaurant in Kyoto. I ran away into the mountains and got lost because I encountered criminals while shopping outside. If it weren't for meeting two people, I would probably have died at the mouth of this beast. Wang Li didn't believe a word from him because he saw this person's swift rolling motion just now. Thinking of the gunshots he had just heard, he was very certain that this person was not an ordinary person. Although Wang Li's father did not think as much as Wang Li did, he also felt the extraordinary qualities in Zhao Chang. Therefore, Wang Li's father said, "This gentleman is polite. My name is Wang Dali, and this is my son Wang Li. We are hunters in the mountains. It is appropriate to help each other when encountering dangerous people in the mountains. I don't know if Sir was injured. I know some simple medical techniques, I can help you deal with them first." Zhao Chang said, "Thank you. If it's convenient, I hope you can take me out of this forest. My injury is not serious, it's just a slight injury to my right arm that doesn't affect my mobility." Wang Li's father said, "You're welcome. Let's go out of the mountain after we finish packing up." At this point, Wang Li was already preparing a simple plow to drag the tiger, similar to a simple sled. For the convenience of transporting the body of the fierce tiger outside the mountain, his operation was simply astonishing to Zhao Chang. You should know that a fierce tiger weighs hundreds of pounds, and just making a simple device requires dragging the tiger out of the mountain. This is very unrealistic for the general public. But soon Wang Li and his father's actions shattered his basic understanding. I saw father and son, one dragging a simple rake and the tiger corpse on top with a hemp rope, leading the way towards a direction in the mountains and forests. Although there was no need to hunt on the way out of the mountain, the father and son dragged the body of the tiger. And in order to take care of Zhao Chang's speed, he only walked out of the mountains and forests around 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. After leaving the forest, Zhao Chang took the initiative to say, "Thank you very much for your life-saving kindness. I still have something important to attend to, so let's say goodbye." Before leaving, he asked for the addresses of the father and son again, but they did not tell him because they suspected his identity. "I just said that I am a hunter in the suburbs of Kyoto and didn't help him much. I don't need to repay him." Zhao Chang may have discovered that his father and son were hiding something, and also realized that his appearance here was quite unusual. Therefore, there was no excessive questioning. After sincerely apologizing again, glancing deeply at the father and son, he turned his head and rushed towards the north. Afterwards, the father and son glanced at each other without saying anything, and then dragged the tiger towards the direction of home. After arriving home, the mother did not inquire about the reason why the two of them came home so late. Because she has become accustomed to it, the father and son always encounter some special situations when they go hunting. So the time to go home is always unpredictable, and sometimes I also live in the mountains. At first, my mother was very worried, but after Wang Li showed her her level of military strength, she felt relieved. It's actually nothing, just using his strong bow paired with his heavy arrow to shoot through a big tree with a bull mouth on the east side of the house. Afterwards, he used level 8 and almost knocked down the tree. Then he performed with his close-fitting hunting knife. His mother was completely reassured by his knife technique, body technique, and leg technique. After the father and son finished tidying up the tiger skin and bones, they took out a portion of the tiger meat as usual and distributed it to the lonely elderly in the village and families without strong labor. After returning home, Wang Li said, "Father, there have been frequent wars in recent years, and some of the precious fur and expensive herbs we have collected have not been sold. Why don't we go to Kyoto Prefecture tomorrow and sell these fur and herbs?" My father hesitated for a moment and said, "Okay, let's set off tomorrow and sell the animal skins and herbs we've hunted to the merchants in the city." After hearing this, Wang Li felt very happy in his heart. This has been his wish for many years, because he was born in a wartime era and was too young. He is now 8 or 9 years old, but still has not been to Kyoto. He has traveled many times back to the capital before traveling. But at that time, the capital was already lined with high-rise buildings, and ancient buildings were rarely seen. At this time, the Blue Star Kyoto still maintained most of its ancient buildings, including ancient city walls, ancient city buildings, etc. So he really wants to visit Kyoto now. But my parents never agreed, and this time I finally found the opportunity. Chapter 9, Selling Mountain Goods. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. The next day, the father and son loaded the goods that needed to be sold onto the carriage borrowed from Director Wang's house. These goods were enough to load a carriage, and the two of them set off after finishing their meal at 6 o'clock in the morning. Because the roads were very difficult to walk at that time, it was said that his home was in the suburbs of Kyoto, but in fact, it was also several tens of kilometers away from the city center. It was not until almost noon that the father and son drove their carriage into the gates of Kyoto. After arriving in the city of Kyoto Prefecture, the two of them headed straight towards the direction of Shikahai behind the Forbidden City, near a shop selling mountain goods near the residence of Ms. Song in Dishengmen. Wang Li's father is a loyal customer of this mountain goods store, and he used to sell all the precious prey he caught to the owner of this merchant. The boss's surname is Sun, and he usually calls him Boss Sun, which is why he was able to open such a large mountain goods store. It is said that his eldest son is a White Party officer. At present, he works in the Southern Defense Army, and his second son is said to have worked as a beard in the north for a period of time. He used to be a member of the White Party, but was defeated by the army of Xiaoben and fled to the mountains and forests to rob the Japanese. Until Xiaoben surrendered, he returned to Kyoto Prefecture and eventually went to Nandu to seek refuge with his brother. In fact, in Wang Li's mind, it was this identity. It is estimated to be difficult to live after being conquered in Kyoto. Quickly, the two of them arrived outside the store called Suanji Mountain Goods Store. I saw that there were hardly any customers in the store, and there were very few goods. Just as both father and son were surprised, the shopkeeper walked out of the store. The shopkeeper's son was surprised to see the father and son and the carriage behind him. He said, "Brother Dolly, this is your son. He looks really strong. Brother, are you here to sell mountain goods? It's not easy to do business now. As you can see, the old man is already selling the store and not doing it anymore. Now the war is chaotic, and I don't know when war will break out in the capital. My elder brother is going to defect to his son." Upon hearing this, Wang Li's eyes lit up instantly. I thought to myself, Mr. Sun's family has great vision, and it's possible that they have received some news. Knowing that Kyoto Prefecture was about to be conquered, he had to flee to the south to transfer his assets. He was such a shrewd businessman. Upon hearing this, Wang Li's father showed a hint of disappointment. Because his hunting skills are very sophisticated, the prey he hunts is also very precious. Therefore, the price he traded with Manager Sun was very ideal, and Manager Sun was also willing to purchase the high-end leather goods in his hands. If he were to look for a mountain goods acquisition company again, it wouldn't necessarily have such a high price. At this moment, the shopkeeper's son seemed to see a hint of disappointment flashing on Wang Li's father's face. Immediately say, "Brother Dolly, I have to take anyone's mountain goods as well as yours. Everyone knows that your mountain goods are of high quality and very rare." In fact, he was right when he said these things. Wang Li's father and the fur of the wild beasts he hunted were both very intact. Both of them have superb archery skills. Basically, it is shot in the eyes, mouth or in a position that does not affect the appearance of the fur. Therefore, fur is relatively valuable. And now it also happens that manager's son is going to Nandu to seek refuge with his son. I need to bring some gifts for my son to tidy up and down, and the high-quality fur in Wang Li's father's hand is a great gift. Although it's not very cold in winter, high-end fur is loved by everyone. After carefully inspecting the tiger skin, bear skin, leopard skin, and other items brought by Wang Li and his son, shopkeeper Sunday, the final price given is 4,000 pieces from Dayan. In fact, the value of the ocean and gold bars at that time. It is difficult to provide specific data due to the influence of multiple factors and significant changes. However, we can roughly understand it through some historical documents and the prices at that time. During the Republic of China period, the value of the ocean and gold bars, based on the current price level, the average person's monthly salary is about $10, and the value of gold bars does not fluctuate much. Generally, each gold bar is worth approximately 50 coins in the ocean. But the number of gold bars is relatively limited, and most people buy gold bars mainly for investment and collection. Therefore, its value often exceeds that of the ocean. And the 4,000 oceans given here are equivalent to a person's 400-month salary purchase a courtyard house at the current price level. It only takes 2,000 to 3,000 ocean dollars. And here we still need to consider one point. In times of war and chaos, the ocean and gold will be even more valuable. Before the Republic of China era, before 1912, a large ocean, 1 or 2 silver coins, 1 silver dollar, was equivalent to 800 renminbi. During the period of the Republic of China, January 1, 1912 to September 30, 1949, 1 ocean was equivalent to 400 renminbi. Shopkeeper's son showed difficulty in estimating the value of the precious Chinese herbal medicine he brought to the father and son. The Chinese herbal medicine brought by the father and son has already collected some of the highest aged ginseng, lingzhi, and other herbs at home. Only some slightly older or ordinary Chinese herbs were sent, but the final estimate still exceeded 4,000 ocean dollars. Chapter 10, Visiting 4 Courtyards. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, son, the shopkeeper, hesitated slightly and after some thought, slowly said, "Brother Dolly, to be honest with you, most of my funds have already been used in Nandu and I have very little cash in hand now. The total price of your goods is approximately 8,000 ocean dollars. It would be very difficult for me to raise so much ocean in the short term. Therefore, I would like to discuss with you whether Brother Dolly is prepared to go south." Wang Dolly's father said, "No, our family has been living here for several generations and there is no preparation to leave our hometown." Shopkeeper's son clapped his hands and said happily, "Brother Dolly, do you think this is good? I use it in a courtyard nearby and add $3,000. What do you think of exchanging these fur and Chinese herbs with you?" Wang Dolly hesitated slightly, but at this moment, he thought to himself, "This is Shikahai, and even after the renovation, the courtyard will not be demolished. And this place is very close to the imperial city, belonging to the central position of Kyoto. There are many famous buildings around, such as Ms. Song's mansion and Prince Gong's mansion, which are not far away. After the recapture of Kyoto, there will be some difficulties in purchasing a courtyard house before it is reopened. Either they dare not sell, or they dare not buy, or they cannot complete the procedures. And this time, if you have the opportunity to obtain a courtyard house in the center of Kyoto, you must not miss it. This can be considered as personal property before the surrender of Kyoto, and it is not a commercial property. It can be said that this is an ordinary mansion, inherited from ancestors. Even in the years leading up to a major storm, no one can say anything. Anyway, our family hasn't done any business or served as a white party soldier, just a hunter. I exchanged some real estate and residential properties with fur, and I believe no one can say anything. After making up his mind, Wang Li said before his father answered, "Son, how big is your courtyard house? Where is it located? Do you have a land deed? Can I transfer ownership?" Son, the shopkeeper, and Wang Li's father were both stunned when they heard Wang Li's question. Wang Li's father didn't say anything, while Son, the shopkeeper, saw that Wang Li's father had not spoken. I replied to Wang Li, "My courtyard is a large 3-courtyard house. It is passed down from my ancestors in old age. I am an old banner person, and the highest ranking official in my family is a second-class official. It's just that this house suffered some damage during the invasion of the 8-Nation Alliance. And these years have been chaotic, coupled with my family having 2 courtyards in Kyoto to live in. Therefore, the 3-courtyard house was not rebuilt. If it weren't for the damage to this courtyard house, then use the address and area of this courtyard house. He is worth at least 20,000 yuan. Let me briefly introduce him to my younger brother. This is a 3-in, cross-courtyard set. His first entrance to the courtyard was facing the main street, and the back of the courtyard was Shiko Bag Hutong. A few hundred meters north was Shikahai, and a few hundred meters east was Prince Gong's mansion. The geographical location is quite advantageous. I have a land deed, if you agree to exchange it. I can take you to the housing management department to handle the transfer procedures, and the courtyard from now on will be yours." Wang Li thought to himself, indeed, he is an unscrupulous businessman, although the price of a courtyard house has increased significantly compared to the early period of the Republic of China. But the 3-courtyard houses are not worth tens of thousands of dollars. Although he discounted the damaged part of the courtyard, it's not worth $5,000. So Wang Li said to him, "Could Manager Sun please take us to take a look?" Manager Sun immediately nodded in agreement and said, "Wait a moment, I'll go get the key to the door." After the shopkeeper's son retrieved the keys, he led the father and son towards West Pocket Hutong and arrived at the entrance of a large courtyard in no time of 30 minutes. From the stone lion at the entrance, the copper nails on the courtyard gate, and the door stopper on the door. This is indeed the house of a former high-ranking official, but it looks a bit outdated. As shopkeeper's son said, his gate is facing a street about 10 meters wide. His wall can be approximately 2 to 3 meters high, and it is paved with green bricks, with obvious signs of detachment in some areas. Shopkeeper's son took out a key and opened the door, inviting Wang Li and his son inside. After the father and son entered the door, they found a 5-meter long shadow wall directly opposite them. On the right is a gatehouse that is 7 meters long and 5 meters wide. Walking forward for about 5 meters, there is a hanging flower gate. Walking past the hanging flower gate is the first and largest entrance to this courtyard. On the side facing the street is an inverted house with 3 rooms, measuring about 20 meters in length and 5 meters in width. Next to the inverted room is a west wing room that is 8 meters long and 5 meters wide. The adjacent west wing consists of 2 main rooms measuring 12 meters in length and 6 meters in width. And these rooms formed a U-shaped opening facing the hanging flower door. The biggest feature of this courtyard is to find the book garden www.zhaoshuyuan.com and bypass the screen wall through the U-shaped opening opposite it. This was originally a garden. This garden is 18 meters wide and over 40 meters long, covering an area of over 1 acre. At present, this garden is basically in a state of abandonment. On the far left side of the garden is the corridor walkway. This corridor starts from behind the screen wall and runs along the central axis of the 3-courtyard house to the 3rd courtyard house. Continuing forward through the corridor, if you look left, you will find that this was originally the second entrance of this quadrangle. The only difference between the second admission and the first admission is that there is no inverted room. And his house is also in the shape of a 7. The main corridor should have been an 8-meter long and 5-meter wide west wing room, connected to a 12-meter long and 6-meter wide main room. Continuing along the corridor leads to the 3rd entrance of this courtyard on the left. The 3rd child admitted to the hospital can be slightly special. From the remaining buildings, it can be seen that there are no wing rooms in this courtyard. There is only one main house that is 17 meters long and 6 meters wide. There are small courtyards behind and in front of the main house, with a width of 8 meters in the front and 4 meters in the back. Overall, this quadrangle courtyard is a typical 3-entry cross courtyard with a garden. If the median corridor is used as the boundary, the left side of the corridor is an E-shaped 3-courtyard. To the right of the corridor is a garden approximately 1 acre long. The starting point of the corridor is right behind the entrance screen, adjacent to the main room of the 1st courtyard. At present, only the 1st child's house in this 3-courtyard has been preserved relatively intact, while the houses in the 3rd and 2nd courtyards are basically abandoned with obvious signs of burning. It should be that after the 8-nation alliance entered the city, they looted and set fire to the last 2 courtyards. Here, it can be introduced that in ancient times, the place where the host received guests and their family lived was basically the place where the 2 or 3 people entered the courtyard. Therefore, there should be valuable things left there, so the damage is quite severe and completely irreparable.